All right, so we got cut off right there, but basically going back into it, I disagree with the concerns about the show's future. I believe it's very well plotted out, but maybe, and my writing, again, this comes down to my writing style a little bit. I don't like being that writer that just gives you everything immediately, even in this ADD ridden generation that we live in. Um, but I do think I can give more, and I think it's because I'm such a fucking fan of The Wire and shows like that are, and The Wire is an extremely slow pace, slow burn show, but it's so fucking good and it invests you, and that's how like I want to write, but you know, and I think a slow paced show like feels more realistic because life is, a bit more slow paced, than you would think. Um, but I can see the other side of this, the last couple of days I've been able to see the other side of this where it's like, yeah, like I could definitely show more of this show's future in the pilot episode. But yeah, let's continue to read here. Okay, another concern lies the show's future. Okay, we got it. Other than Zadok getting back into poker, what is this story ultimately about, and what do future episodes look like? The pilot isn't doing enough to introduce specific, concrete, ongoing storylines. Delving more into character motivations, desires, and ambitions could help. In addition, the script's ensemble feels too small for a series. Supporting roles are vital for a show's longevity, but other than the Zadok, Julie, and perhaps Dallas, there aren't a lot of important seeming characters yet. The relatively narrow focus and scope present here suggests this material might actually be better suited as a film. I can see where he's coming from with this, or he or she. I'm just gonna say he, just because I don't know, whatever. Uh, I can see where he's coming from with this. I heavily disagree, but I definitely see where he's coming from with this. Um, my plan with this series was to stagger characters coming in. I actually thought about, one character that's very important in the series is Jordan. And Jordan is this stone cold fucking killer of a poker player that Zadok has to get past in the tournament. And it comes down to him and Jordan at the very end. And, basically Jordan is in Zadok's way to win the ticket to play in the World Series of Poker main event, to fulfill his older brother's dream. But I've thought about introducing him later, but, I don't know. Like, I guess I take some of that from Game of Thrones. Again, like another series I like is Game of Thrones. They stagger a lot of characters, important characters, in later episodes. Like Tywin Lannister is one of the most important, if not one of like the villain for the first 3 or 4 seasons, and he's not introduced until the 6th episode of the pilot. So, but again, yeah, I mean, this guy's only reviewing the pilot episode, so like, I totally understand where he's coming from. I think what I can do here, so in terms of redundancy, I have a plan for that. I'm not going to dive into that too much, but redundancy, I do have a plan for that. Um, you know, but in terms of, the ensemble, I think diving more into the Julia character, more in the pilot, so it's kind of like we see both sides of Zadok and Julia. Um, and then just in general, I don't know, maybe weeding out some of the small characters. I don't know, but that's just like my. I think for the next draft at least, I'm gonna put more of a focus on Julia, and go from there. Prospects. All right. In terms of establishing a foundation for the series as a whole, the pilot's biggest strength includes its world building, its plotting, and its emotionality. This is an engaging, thoughtful episode of television, and that's a good starting point for any series. In terms of pitching and then selling the product, poker has been a fascination of film and television for many years, thanks to built-in drama, high stakes, and ability to reflect the player's unique perspectives through action. All of this is on display here. Relatedly, Las Vegas is a compelling backdrop for similar reasons and focusing on people actually from there as opposed to tourists. I think this is getting a little, I mean, like, okay, I see where he's going. Okay, provides an interesting underseen dynamic to explore, which is a smart way to stand out in a crowded television marketplace. I'll say this, I wasn't even necessarily going for that, but that's actually an interesting point in terms of people from there instead of the tourist. Right, okay, but continuing. Right now, though, the script's narrow scope and focus makes it few. Then this is honestly, I'm going to tell you, this is what pissed me off the most about the evaluation. I really was like cool with the evaluation until I got this. And I think this honestly docked me a couple points. I probably would have gotten like a 7 out of 10 on this, in my opinion, if this evaluator were to see this. But right now, through this though, the script's narrow scope and focus make it feel more like a feature than a series. Zadok working through his issues while, say, making a run in the World Series of Poker could make for a compelling sports drama akin to the way back or the card counter. Ultimately, the series' big picture outlook is a bit up in the air, but there's a lot to like here. After addressing some key issues, this project could have real potential. Oh, what really irks me is the WSOP remark. Because and this is the issue, right? I feel like a lot of writers these days are extremely on the nose with shit. And I felt like I did a very like nice job of subtly introducing the WSOP, right? The WSOP ticket that Chris won, right? The very first scene is Zadok and Chris having this conversation about Chris finally fulfilling his dream of playing in the World Series of Poker main event. And at the end of the pilot episode, we find out that this is like the last conversation that they have before they get in the fatal car accident that takes Chris, the older brother's life, and cripples Zadok. So I mean, there's so many things in the pilot episode where I thought I foreshadowed it, right? I feel like I foreshadowed it very well. And I think the only reason why he even came up with this conclusion, working through his issues while, say, making a run in the WSOP, is because I foreshadowed it, because it was at the top of his brain when I made that, when I made this story. And that's how I want it to be, right? Like, it's a pilot episode. I'm not going to, like, give you everything in the opening episode, as the series goes on. You're going to have to continue to watch in order to, find out what happens next. So, maybe there's something I can do there to make it a little more obvious, although like it kind of irks me because I love being subtle as a writer and I hate being on the nose. Maybe I have to be a little bit on the nose. Sometimes a hammer is a good tool. Just a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, besides that, that's my review that I got for the Blacklist, and it was fine. I think, the Blacklist is what it is. You pay for what you get. It's not bad, but like, I guess sometimes it can be like anything, but I did like this overall. I did like this review. But I think the next step for me is to hire a professional writing coach, someone with some credentials, and I will pay, I'll have to pay a little more money, but at the same time, in this world, you get what you pay for. So, that's all from me today. Like I said, like it was a little bit of a gut shot, especially at first. But, it shows me that I have room for improvement, and, and again, like it is only one person. Perspective. I've gotten plenty of people that have read my script that have fallen in love with it, and I've had plenty of people that have read my script that just don't get it or that don't like it. That's kind of art. That's the beauty of art. It's the beauty, and kind of it sucks sometimes. But with the good comes the bad. So that's my review again from the Blacklist script. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos, and I'm going to continue to pump out content for y'all. Sorry if I've been a little, fucking lazy with the social media. I'm really going to try and be doing it every day again. But yeah, thank you guys for the support. Cheers, y'all.